Well, hello, everybody. This is Dave from Universal Truth of Mankind, and this is Kabbalah 101. I recently put out a video called Ein Sof, which uses this very illustration. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start talking about the names of our Creator that are used. And I'm going to try to explain the attributes of those names so you understand what these names really are. We live in a society that's very lexically oriented. So we look at words and we focus on the meaning of the words, and we think these words have power. And so we get very specific about God's names and their proper pronunciation. That's really not an issue with the Creator. That's more of an issue for us. Sometimes we also want to pronounce names correctly because some of us believe that if we can do it properly, that somehow God will favor us more because we got his name right. I wanted to dispel that whole concept, that whole idea. This is like pronouncing spells on people. You have to make sure that your cantations are proper and correct. We saw this in Bewitched. You say your various words, and it had to be said very specifically in specific orders and in very specific pronunciations. And somehow that's going to make the spell stick or undo another spell, such as doing it in reverse versus forward. That's what I'm trying to dispel here. So go to that video, Ein Sof. Take a look at this, and you'll see what's taking place before this video, so that when you watch this video, things come in better context. All right, like I said, pronunciation is not what's important here. It's the attributes that are important here. So let's talk about Ein Sof for just 1 second. Ein Sof created a bubble in itself so creation can become existent within itself and not be impacted by the overwhelming existence of Ein Sof. So there had to be a separation, sort of like a uterus, where a woman makes room for or has room for her child to be conceived in. So this is a picture of the, how creation was conceived. So now let's go to the next picture. Oh, actually, no, hold on 1 second. You will notice the very outer circle has these spikes coming out of it. That's not where creation takes place. That's the boundary between the two, creation and creator. Okay. Now, at this point, there's something called the thought of creation, where the creator has a will, has a thought of what creation should look like. Now, the creator has every little detail already figured out. And that takes place in the second white circle called Keter. Keter means crown. It also means the will of the creator, the thought of creation. Now, Moses in chapter 3 sees a burning bush. Moses goes up to that burning bush. And what does Moses do? He discusses things with God, because God's saying, I'm sending you to save Israel. And he has objections why he shouldn't, such as, maybe he has a difficulty pronouncing words properly. Obviously, God doesn't care that he can't pronounce words properly. So why do we care if we pronounce words properly? Something to contemplate. At verse 14 of chapter 3, what takes place? He decides, okay, yeah, I'll do your will. Who shall I say sent me? And it says, EHYH, EHYH, EHYH. Now you go, oh, that's interesting. It's a 3-word name, 3-word attribute. And you go, okay, that's interesting. Why 3? Why not just 1? Some good thoughts there. The creator, first of all, is telling Moses, I'm the thought of creation who's sending you. In other words, the very beginning of creation, the very conception of creation, the seed of creation, the first step of creation, I think I said that, is sending you. And when you use my name, EHYH, they'll know who sent you. All right, so let's take a look at this next. We're very familiar with this. There's two different versions of this. They're both correct. It just depends where you are in Jacob's ladder. All right, so let's take a quick look, or close look, I should say, on the very top, center top. It says crown, number one, crown. It says Keter. Like I said, Keter means crown. This is where the thought of creation takes place in all of its details. And you'll notice there's a right, there's a left going beyond that. So when we see EHYH, some say means I am. I prefer using the word I'll be. Why? Because the left and rights are defining the extreme boundaries of the three columns. I have a video called The Three Columns in Kabbalah 101. Watch it. There's a right column, a left column, and a center column. So the very beginning, EHYH, starts the first column, the middle column. So Asha, EHYH, Asha is creating the extreme lefts and rights of creation. And the middle part of creation to bring the balance to the left and right extremes. But that's why there's three words, because there's three columns being created at this point. That's the will of the creator. Now, just for greater understanding, when I proceed further on, because I want to hit these names, you notice the right column says wisdom, Chachma. Well, EHYH is that wisdom. You notice on the left it says Binah, or understanding. That is Elohim. I will eventually describe and explain those names in further videos. But this is the key to understanding what these names are in terms of their attributes, not in terms of their pronunciations. Now, I hope this helps you to better understand who sent Moses, and it will help you understand the Yud-Hey, Yud-Hey and Vav-Hey. I say that purposely because there's a meaning in that, sort of a hidden meaning. I may get to that. And who Elohim is. Okay, so this is the will, the thought of creation, where everything begins, and he has to create these three columns. And these three columns is what the world rests on, which is the very bottom. You notice there's a left and right in the middle column come together and meet the world. I hope this helps you, and we'll come to greater understanding as we move forward. Take care, everybody. Shalom, shalom.